Is it not really beautiful out here?
It's gorgeous. Like, yeah.
It's fantastic.
So this week we were able to camp at Gulpha Gorge Campground at Hot Springs National Park. An amazing park that we've really enjoyed, you know, being at and exploring. One of the best things that happened, so first off, let us just say, we both grew up less than an hour from here.
We're both Arkansans, and we have independently come to this campground or this national park, but we've never camped here. So it's always been a bucket list conversation, like this was finally the year we're gonna do it.
Yes, and one of the key reasons that we were able to do it this year is because you could finally make a reservation for this campground. So
yeah, that's right.
For years and years, this was a first come, first serve campground, and you just had to like take your chances and come here. And while there are a good number of sites, there aren't hundreds of them. Yeah. And so there was a good chance that you might not either get a site or get a site that you could fit in.
How many total sites are there?
There's like a little over 40 sites, I believe.
Is that true?
I think so.
Wow, okay.
I mean, I could be wrong. It could be more than that, but I don't know. I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll put it up. I'll put it up here. This is how many sites there actually are. So we want to talk about the pros and cons of this particular campground. Should we start with the pros or should we start with the cons?
Did you make a list?
I did.
Did you forget the list?
It's inside. I can go get it.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hey, you're back.
Yeah.
Did you get that list?
I did.
Okay.
One of the cons of this park is that it's very close to the road.
Well, the road being that there's two main intersections, if you will, not intersections, or thoroughfares.
Mm-hmm.
And so the interesting thing of this park is it's really close to being off the road, which is nice and convenient.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very inconvenient because the road continues to pass right by the campground, and I feel like there's nonstop traffic.
Yes, it is, and you can absolutely hear it from any place that you would camp in this park. So that's a little unfortunate because it sort of takes away from the atmosphere of like being inside.
Well, you've got this really
park.
nice water stream creek right beside you, and so it's nice to come and sit by the water, and then hear an 18-wheeler zoom by. It's like, okay. Yeah,
and so that is, I would say, a pro of this park. So a con being by the road, but the pro of this park is like the setting and then the water that comes through. So if you are able to get a site that backs up to the creek, please do it, because it only adds to the setting, and there's just these beautiful trees that are around. And so I'd highly encourage you to do that if you can, book one of those sites, because that is definitely a pro of this park, and those sites are the furthest ones from the road.
Yeah. So another con about this place is that it's a bit narrow. So I say bit narrow only whenever you're like making the loop, and some of those sites. So the site that we got is kind of like where the road kind of splits, so that made it a little easier for us. But I would say, looking at some of the other sites, they're a bit tight to get into. So depending on the size of your rig, you might have some challenges.
Yeah, and all the sites are back-end sites, and so you've got to be good. And there's so many trees, which can be good and bad. Like, you love the trees when you're in your site and they're shading you, but you hate the trees when you're going to like actually get into your site and back in, because that's just another thing that you have to maneuver around, and it can be challenging with the small loop that this has. But on the opposite side of that, a pro for this loop is that there is full hookups at every single site.
That's pretty nice, which is pretty rare at national parks.
And then I would say another con with just the campsites is that some of them have a fire ring, some of them don't have a fire ring. So if you love a campfire, or if you're here in the fall or winter or early spring when you actually want to have a campfire to sit outside, some of the sites have them and some of them don't. And we asked about
it's really random
why that is, and
they didn't have a really good answer.
Yeah. Anyway, another thing about that's great about this park, another pro, is the hiking that you can do
Yeah.
from the campground itself. So you can walk down at the end of the campground. There's an amphitheater, and there's a trail that you can get on. It's called the Gulpha Gorge Trail, and you can actually hike all the way up that trail to the top of the North Mountain. So if you wanted to do that, you could. There's some other trails. You can actually take the Sunset Trail from this campground, which actually goes all the way around the entire park. It's about 13 miles. And they have a really nice trail map that you can, of course, get here at the campground or at the visitor center. So it's nice when you have a lot of trail options that are right from your campground. We really, really love that and think that that's a big pro.
Well, it's not a huge park. I think that's an advantage that it has, to where some of the trails, they're more closely knit.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to drive 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to a trailhead. And everything's kind of centrally located, so that's pretty convenient. Though that might be a con because it is so small. And this national park really revolves around the bathhouses.
Yeah.
Because that's really what, I mean, the bathhouse row is really what founded Hot Springs National Park. And so they put, you know, a lot of emphasis on the bathhouse, but you can get to anything and everything from the campground that you wanted to, that's associated with the national park.
So we, because we love hiking from the campground, we're gonna head out and go on a hike and see what that's about from the campground.
So if you're in Gulpha Gorge Campground, you can go over to the amphitheater, and there's a trailhead entrance. You have to walk across some water, but then you can either jump on the Sunset Trail or the Goat Trail. And the Gulpha Gorge Trail, I'm sorry, the Gulpha Gorge Trail, which takes you to Goat Rock.
Goat Rock? Like, what is that?
The greatest of all time.
Is it shaped like a goat? Is it just a rock that goats like?
Is it a goat that has a guitar?
There's no goats here.
Why did they name
I'm
it Goat Rock?
confused, Yeah.
I know
I'm
what it
hoping
is.
we can answer that question.
Can we talk about how we just got gas in the first 5 minutes of this trail?
We've only gone
Oh
a
my
quarter of
gosh.
a mile, and that is a little bit of a hike up. I mean,
You're presented
these
with water.
mountains.
Gosh, water, crossing, steps, switchbacks going uphill. It's too much. We're just,
Challenge.
we're not used to being outdoors apparently. Well, we did it. We did the Goat Rock.
We did.
Was it?
I didn't realize it was like an overlook.
Was it the
It
greatest?
was not anything that I thought it was gonna be.
Was it the greatest of all time?
No. It was nice, but
It was alright.
it wasn't goat worthy.
Wow.
And I didn't see any goats.
It didn't smell like a goat.
And yeah, so I'm not sure why it's called Goat Rock. But
I think it's just a high point.
yeah,
So
that's cool. It was nice. Good view.
good views.